I want you to see yourself now, looking down at your feet, getting your bearings. And as you're looking down at your feet, tell me, do you see any feet there?
Yes.
What? Describe them to me. Are you wearing anything?
Sandals.
You're wearing sandals. How wonderful. What colour are these sandals?
Brown.
They're brown. And as you look at those feet, do you have a sense, are they female feet or male feet?
Male.
They're male. They're male.
And those sandals are tied by rope, not buckles.
How interesting. So what I want you to do now is to look at the rest of your body, and you can even do this by detaching from the body and looking at you as a whole person. So you'll be able to describe to me what you see, or you may see a flickering image of yourself through a mirror.
I'm in a long robe,
It's
down to my ankles. It's quite loose.
What colour is it?
Brown. It's tied at the waist. There's a hood down my back. I'm age-wise, I would say possibly 30s.
30s.
Yeah, I'd say, look at my hands, yeah, 30s. My skin is quite weather-beaten. They're hands that have worked. They're quite large hands. And I'm not very tall.
You're not very tall.
Not very tall. I could have been tall by the time. I say about 5'6", 5'7", maybe 5'8" at a push.
How wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
if you're 30 years old, you'll know what people call you in that life. Just have a sense now. What's your first impression?
Michael.
Michael. Well, good morning, Michael. Thank you for coming to work with me today and sharing this past life memory with myself and my client here. Michael, I'd like you to take a look around your landscape, so I want you to look to the right and to the left. And tell me, are you inside or are you out?
Outside.
You're outside. What kind of day is it, Michael?
It's sunny, blue skies, white clouds, but it's quite cool.
Wonderful.
The bridge I walked over is a stone bridge. It's got 3 arches, the middle one's higher. The two either end are much lower down. And the stream is not deep, it's quite narrow. It's quite narrow. There are trees on the far bank, fields. On this side there's buildings. The roads are not like you would have. They're like rough earth roads, beaten earth. A lot of the buildings are thatched. Some are stone, some are wood. A lot of them just front straight onto the road. They have nothing in front of them. It's a winding street, and there's an area in the middle that's quite open. It's got 3 steps up to a cross, a stone cross, and I think this is the marketplace where the market's held.
How wonderful.
Yeah. There's sorry.
Michael, I want you to connect with the country that you're in.
It's England,
It's England.
but a long, long time ago.
Well, I'm going to press my fingers on your forehead, and when I press my fingers on your forehead, you're going to see the numbers of what year it is that springs to mind. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1.
I was born around about the year 1233, in the year of our Lord, possibly 1234. So we would be sometime in the, my age is right, in the 1260s, 1270s, around about that time.
Well, take a look around your landscape now, Michael, and as you're walking around this place, do you live in that area?
Yes.
Or are you visiting? You live
I
in
live
that
here.
area. Well, as we continue, I want you to walk with each and every step. I want you to walk, and I want you to walk towards the place that you live. And the more you connect with that thought, I want you to see yourself in front of the place where you live and describe that place to me. What does it look like?
It has a high wall. It has a gate, thick wooden gate. There's a large church I can see just over the gate, quite big. There's a lot of buildings around it. It's a monastery, and that's where I live and that's where I work.
I see. So are you a monk?
Yes.
You're a monk. How long have you been there, Michael?
For about, I'd say, half my life.
Half your life. And what is the purpose of you working there?
I am in charge of books, manuscripts. I store them, I make sure they're in good repair, and I provide them for the services in the church. And I also, not at the moment, but will eventually oversee the copying of them.
I see. And in this place, do you have a particular person that you work with or a group of people that you work with? See yourself at work.
Is an old man. He's like a mentor. His name's Timothy, and he's going blind.
He's going blind.
So I help him as much as I can. He does a lot by his senses and a lot by touch, a lot by he's a very good listener. He doesn't talk very much. He listens a lot. And I get the impression, although his eyesight is failing, he takes in everything around him. He's very aware.
Well, what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that Timothy's there with you in front of you now. And I want you to describe him to me. What colour is his hair?
He's got a tonsure because he's a monk, and it's greying. It's greying. He's got a very roundish face. It's getting quite wrinkled. But I think he was old before his time anyway.
Yeah.
His hands are quite gnarled, so he can't really hold anything. I am his assistant.
Well, what I want you to do, Michael, is I want you to look into the eyes of Timothy, because the eyes are the windows to the soul deep within the body there. And as you look into the eyes and deep into the soul, I want you to spiritually connect, to telepathically communicate with the soul of Timothy, and tell me, is he in your life today? You'll just have an impression. What's your first impression?
I can't feel so much whether he is or not.
That's fine. He may well not be. So what I want to do now is I want to close that scene, Michael. Now that we've got that information, I want to close that scene, but I want us to follow the same timeline. So we want to go forward in that life to another significant time when something is happening to you. So just allow yourself now to close that scene. Very good. And allow your mind to drift and wonder and follow that silver thread of that timeline. Drifting and floating now forward in the same lifetime. And I'm going to count down from 3 to 1, and when I get to 1, you're going to be at an important, significant time when something is happening to you. So when you're ready, 3, drifting and floating now, allowing your mind to wander. 2, nearly there, and 1. So how old do you feel now, Michael?
I am a little older. It's a few years on, and I'm in the monastery infirmary, and I'm sitting on a rough stool by Timothy's bedside. He's dying, but I get the feeling he's aware of my presence on some level, because I'm holding his hand and he's squeezing his hand. His grip's still quite strong, even though he's going. And he's given me some kind of instructions, like final instructions. I think he wants to make sure that I follow in his footsteps in a way that suits us both, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
that he's comfortable with and I am comfortable with too. And after he's gone, I will take over all his duties inside the church and inside the priory in general. I should point out, my name is actually spelled Myhill. Myhill. Yhill is Myhill.
Myhill.
But most people call me Michael.
I see. Well, I want you to see yourself a couple of months ahead now that the old man has died. How has your role changed there?
Dramatically. The prior, now Timothy is gone, has great expectations for me and my future and the role that I'm going to play. I am now in the scriptorium and I'm helping monks to copy manuscripts in a way that is faithful to the original. But the thing is, as I said, I restore the manuscripts, I bind them, but I also make sure that the manuscripts are right for the right monastic services. And so we have Mass, and we have Compline and Matins, and they are at certain times of the day. My days are very long. We rise very early and go to bed quite early too. But it's not unusual to have a service just before the middle of the night. So go through the night stair by candlelight into the church. And it's quite beautiful seeing the church all lit by candles with the smell of incense. It's very, very beautiful.
How wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, what I want to do now is I want to close that scene and I want you to take me to the last day of your life so that we can actually find out your purpose and what you achieved. So with that in mind, I just want you to close that scene now.
Okay.
Just allow your mind to drift and wander. Just floating forward. And I'm going to count down from 3 to 1, and when I get to 1, you're going to be totally detached from any pain, fear or emotion as we view the last day of that life on earth. So when you're ready, 3, drifting and floating forward now, 2, making an intention to view the scene of the last day of that life, and 1, be there now. So how old are you now there?
I would say I am middle-aged. I would say probably in my 50s, probably mid to late 50s.
Well, that's quite young to be passing, don't you think? Are you ill?
Yes.
Take a look at yourself and connect with your senses and tell me, whereabouts are you ill?
I'm not quite sure, but I'm very pale.
You're pale.
I seem to have lost a lot of weight. Mind you, I was slim anyway, quite skinny. And my hands look old. They look really old. I mean, normally I was quite healthy looking, had quite a healthy complexion, but now I have not. I have not.
Well, what I want you to do, Michael, as you know that your soul carries on, I'm going to ask you in a moment to take a nice deep breath so you can step out of the body so that we can continue on our journey. So when you're ready, take a nice deep breath in, step away from the body, and I want you to rise till you're about 3 or 4 foot above the body so that we can continue with this life. And as you look at the body now and you're detached from that body, tell me, did you achieve what you wanted to achieve in that lifetime?
I think I did.
Very good. And now that we're out of the body, just feel yourself floating from left to right. See that you're more than capable of going anywhere you want to go. But at this moment, it's usual that someone from the spirit realm comes to collect you, to take you back home.
Is it all right if I describe the scene to you, what it looks like?
Absolutely.
It's a bare building. It's got stone floor. There are wooden shutters. There's no glass in the windows. The room is open to the rafters. It's a long room, but it has wooden partitions between the beds. They are hard beds with rough woolen blankets and sheets, just a single sheet. And they're quite hard and quite uncomfortable, but of course when you live in a monastery, comfort is the last thing you think of. It's all about devotion to God and the service of God and the service of the community. That's what you're there for. And that's what I think, when you're in that environment, that is what you've signed up to do, really. That is my vocation, or was.
Very good. Well, now what I want you to do is I want you to look up, and as I continue to talk to you and you look up, you may well notice someone or something coming towards you to collect you, to take you home. And the more I talk, the closer and closer that image comes to mind, until that's right in front of you. And tell me, what do you see?
I see a figure in a light-coloured robe.
Yeah.
I cannot make out the face. It's quite indistinct because the light is quite bright. So I can't make out any features.
How wonderful. What I want you to do is I want you to step a little closer towards that figure there. And then step a little closer and closer until you can step into their energy and their vibration, so that you can communicate with that figure. And tell me, what message do you get from them?
What I get from them, they're not saying anything, but I get a feeling of peace and love and confidence coming from them. They're strong presence.
How wonderful. Well, what I want you to do now, Michael, is I want you to allow me to share your journey with you.
Okay.
And allow this energy, this soul that has come to collect you, to take you back up to spirit. So with that in mind, feel yourself getting lighter and lighter, so that you can drift up and up and up and up with this soul now. And the higher you go, the lighter you become, detaching yourself from that previous life as you become lighter and lighter, and more the soul energy that you are as you go higher and higher and higher. And I'm going to ask for that spirit that came to collect you to travel towards your soul family, your soul group, so that we can find more answers. So as you go up and up and up through the clouds, see yourself now coming to a cluster of clouds, and I want you to imagine that cluster of clouds forming an archway, and allow us to drift and float towards that archway, feeling the strong pull of your soul family as we get closer and closer. And as we get towards that archway, you see a door there. Tell me, do you push that door, or do you pull that door to go through it?
Push.
You push. So very gently, I want you to float towards that door, and see yourself putting your hand out and pushing that door forward and open. And allow yourself to get your bearings, and tell me, Michael, what is it that you see or you sense now?
Around the outside of the door, there is writing, but I can't read it. It's not in a language that I would recognize. Coming through the doorway, there's like rainbow colors, red, orange, and so forth. And it's quite beautiful, very soft, not bright, not intense, just gentle.
But now you're on the other side of that door, and you're looking around at the landscape. Tell me, are there any other souls on that side there?
Very more like presences than distinct beings. So you get a sense of them being there more than them seeing them being there, if you know what I mean.
Just a knowing.
Just a knowing.
Yeah. And do you think there are 2 or 4 or 100?
I would say about a dozen at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I get the feeling.
Well, I want you to go round drifting and floating and connecting with these presents, this energy, to celebrate your coming home and your achievements in that previous life. And as you're mingling around with these energy souls, I want you to look around very slowly at each and every one of them until you can feel that you're affiliated to one more than the rest. See who it is that you're connected to more. And ask them to come forward. And now, as you're able to telepathically communicate, what message does that soul give you?
Love.
Love. How wonderful.
A feeling of love.
Ask them what's the purpose of your soul group there. What do you do up there?
It's to connect with beings that are communicators in some form. Whether it's written communication or spoken communication, that is what I think it is.
When you say beings, does that mean that you connect with other beings on different planets as well?
I think because I've passed over just so soon, I think they're very much on a kind of level as a way of making sure that I'm comfortable at first before going on.
I see. Well, thank you very much for that information, Michael. But now what I want to do is I want to close that scene, and I'd like permission to speak to my client's inner self now.
All right.
As I begin the healing work. So when you're ready, I'd like to just close that scene now, just as if we were flicking the switch of a remote control. And I want your mind now to connect with your inner self. And as you're connecting with your inner self, knowing that I'm going to be working with your inner self, I'd like you now to take a nice deep breath in, and I want you to step away from your body to allow your inner self into your circulation in your body. Very good. Because I'd like your inner self to be able to use your voice today so that we can communicate and explore even further. So, good morning, inner self. What can I call you today?
Max.
Max? Max, are you male or female?
Male.
You're male. How long have you been working with my client, Max?
Not long. I came into his life a few weeks ago.
And what is the purpose of you coming into his life?
Je ne sais pas. I do not know at the moment.
And how are you gelling with him as you're new to his energy?
I think I am kind of like I don't know. I come from Paris. He has a connection with France in some way, in some life, a long time ago. And I'm trying to get him to sort out whatever problems he has in the chain of being that he has, because I know he has problems linking things. His mission, as I understand it, is the fact that he's down here to open doors, to make links in the chain. And once those links are made in his life chain, his purpose will be over. So I'm helping him in that purpose.
So tell me, Max, how do you feel that he's doing at the moment?
Pas du tout. I think he's doing quite well.
Very good, very good. Max, what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to do a total body scan of my client. Do we have permission to work together today, please?
Mais oui, d'accord.
Thank you very much. So what I want to do now is I want us to start at the top of the head. Very good. And I want you to go in there because you can sense every cell, every fibre, every energy, and you can connect with all that is. And as we begin to scan down the forehead and we go down the cheekbones and the jaw, around the neck area, let's go down the shoulders now. Very good. Around the torso and into the heart. And I want you to imagine that you're looking at his body as a light body, Max. And just highlighting any dull areas. Let's go down into his tummy area now. Wonderful. Around his hips, down, now down. Rolling over those hips, down the knees and the calves, all the way down to the toes. And from there, let's go back up, 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 all the way to the forehead. So tell me, Max, is there anything there in the body that we can work with today?
He has a malady with his jaw. Left side.
To the left.
By the chin.
Here, as I
Yes.
connect. Thank you very much.
He was hit in the jaw by a table. On Thursday, he was helping to set up, and the table leg hit him right there in the jaw. He wasn't being careful.
He wasn't being careful.
No, he was being silly. He stood on the wrong side of the table, and the leg popped up.
And what is it, Max, that you want us to do here now?
Take the pain out.
Take the pain out. Max, what I want you to do is I want you to reduce yourself to the size of a cell, and I want you to go in now to the side of this jaw. And I'll keep my hand here by the jaw, and my hand is like a magnet, pulling out all negative energy. But what I want you to do, Max, is I want you to go in there and I want you to begin to pull the roots of that trauma out. That's right. Go in there and begin to search out where that trauma and that shock went to. Begin to ease it out. I don't want you to cut it out. I want you to slowly pull it out all the way from the roots. And the more I talk, the more magnetic my hand becomes, until you see the entire trauma is now delivered into my hand. And have I got all that energy, Max?
Almost.
Keep pouring in, Max. Going in deeper and deeper, drawing it out, not leaving even the tiniest fragment. And I'd like Archangel Michael to shine his sword of light into this jaw. Very good. And just to double check that we're not leaving any particles in there. Max, go and sweep up one final sweep and place it into my hand. And have I got it all now?
I think so.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm going to take that away from you and I'm going to offer that to the universe. And may the light of the universe always accompany it. Max, what would you like us to fill this jaw with now?
I think, how you say, tranquility.
So as I place my hand here, I call on Archangel Raphael to stand with us now. And as my hand is on the jaw, I'd like Archangel Raphael to be beginning to pour the colour green, that tranquil turquoise bluey green colour, that liquid, and I want that to start to come from my arm all the way down my elbows, through my wrist, now into your jaw, and feel that beautiful tranquil energy, soothing all those muscles and tissues and fibres. And the more I talk, the more it just fills up and up and up until it's completely full. And I'm going to tap you on the forehead and seal that in. Okay, Max, tell me about the rest of his body.
Down there. Leg. The left one.
And how far down?
Around the knee.
Around the knee. Are we here?
And slightly above and slightly below. He he was accident voiture car. He was struck by a car 18 years ago. He was knocked down. It was a bad accident. I was nearly killed. And since that time, his leg has been giving me a lot of pain and a lot of trouble, because that was the leg that the car hit.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to connect with this pain, and I'm going to bring the energy of this pain up so that it can explain to me why it's still here and what it's holding on to. So when you're ready, I'm going to bring that energy up to the throat. Energy, why are you still hanging around in that leg there?
Blockage.
Blockage.
He's got an energy blockage in that leg.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of like the fact that he hangs on to it.
I see.
He thinks about things too deeply and broods. The more he broods, the worse it gets.
So is it thought forms, or is it... Go down there and see if it's an attachment or a person, and see if they have a name.
No, he just sort of, when he focuses on something, that's where the pain is intense, because he's like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is he ready to release that block and those thought forms?
He wants it to go, just completely go.
Is he ready to let go of that?
Yes.
Thank you, Max. What I want to do then is I'm going to hold on to this area here. Max, I want you to come down and help me now.
Of course.
And as before, I want you to go into the muscle. Very good. You're shaping the muscle. I can feel it in the leg. I want to go in there now and start scouting around and looking for that blockage, and start drawing it out as if it's a grey energy, bringing it towards my hand now. Archangel Michael and his team, I'd like you to come forward and work with me now, and then circle. That's right, it's completely reshaping your leg, and I want them now very good, very good. I want them now to push their energy into your body so that you can feel their strength and their wisdom and the freedom of joy and knowledge, knowing that you don't need this blockage anymore, do you?
No.
No. Are you ready to let it go?
I am perfectly prepared to let it go. I mean, it's been plaguing me for the last 18 years, and it's a real bugbear. Seriously.
So now I'm ready. I'm going to take that pain away from you. I'm going to offer it to Archangel Michael. I'd like him to take it up to Spirit so that it can be repaired and replenished. Max, what can we put into this leg?
I think what you can put into that leg is some form of stability, because he does not put much weight on that leg. He puts it all on that side of the body.
Okay.
And I think that is wrong, because the more he puts over there, the weaker that gets.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of, it's unbalanced.
Mm-hmm. So as I begin to connect now, with these muscles and tissues and fibres.
I think he likes people remarking on the fact that he's got a limp, because on some level he gets sympathy.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. And they ask him about the leg, they ask him what happened.
So it's attention as well?
Yeah, he likes an audience.
Mm-hmm. Is he prepared to let go of that attention so that he can balance his spine now?
No. He is a bit dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Do you think that it is something that we're going to be working on at a later stage?
Probably. I think so.
Thank you. Well, all I'm going to do now is I'm going to hold and heal this now. And pour in all my love and energy and confidence into this. Very good. So tell me, Mags, we'll have one more go looking at the body now. Is there anything else that we can work on? What about the heart area?
I would say there.
Right.
It's his hip.
It's his hip.
Well, you see, the problem was with the accident, it injured his leg, but it also injured his lower back.
Mm-hmm.
More so on the left than the right, sort of here.
Okay. So
Yeah.
let me go into that hip now. Ooh. Yeah.
He was told by somebody who deals with pain in the body when he was lying on the bed that his hip was out of alignment.
Mm-hmm.
That is forward, that is backward. And that's one of the reasons why he limps, because his legs are not aligned.
Aligned.
They're not aligned.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
He's all bent round.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to call on this energy to come to the voice so that we can actually find out exactly what's going here, because you may have transferred pain, you may have shock or trauma, and it's better not to guess. So when you're ready, I'm going to bring this energy up to the throat. Energy, describe to me what's actually happening with this body. Where can we work?
I think the best thing to do is to just try and sort of get him balanced physically, because the thing is, he has a lot of trouble, a lot of pain. He has trouble managing stairs. Sometimes he has trouble walking. That knee, the left knee, will lock up on him. When he sits down too long or stands up too long, it will literally lock in position. And it's a bit like it sometimes clicks. It sometimes sort of can be quite painful for him.
Okay, Mags, I want you to go an even smaller, and I want you to go straight into that hip, and I want you to go around the lower part of that spine, and I want you to go in between those vertebrae and tell me, are those vertebrae compressed?
Yes, they are.
So in fact, for him to hang upside down would be able to release the vertebra to loosen it.
I think the best thing to happen is he needs to be sort of, I don't know what to do, because it's a physical thing. It's not a psychological thing, because when the car struck him, it did him a lot of damage inside. And whether or not it needs something quite major done inside him to correct it, I do not know, but probably.
Okay, so I'm going to place my hand here now, and I'm going to place my hand here, and I'm going to call on Archangel Michael to come forward with this sword of light. And what I want Archangel, very good, what I want Archangel Michael to do now is to place his sword of light here, the tummy area. And I want that sword of light to gently go into this body all the way through to the lower base of the spine. And now I want you to see that sword of light enhancing in its brightness and its strength. Very good. And feel the energy from spirit as they begin to repair that spine and they begin to realign. Very good, very good. And the more I talk, the brighter and brighter this sword becomes as it magnifies and sources out all that pain and shines so bright onto this pain it has no alternative but to completely disintegrate.
And the other problem is he doesn't sit properly.
And is this because of his spine?
Yes.
So I'm going to ask Archangel Michael now to draw that spine up and up and up. Very good. And even further up and up and up. And we're going now to the thoracic. Oh, very good. That's right. Allow it to adjust now. That's right. And how does your body feel now?
Feels more comfortable. It does.
So let's go even further up and up and up. And now I'd like Archangel Michael to start from the top of the neck and to pour the colour blue all the way down the spinal cord, and I want you to feel that blue liquid energy cooling, restoring and replenishing all the spine area, allowing freedom of movement, ease and balance, filling it up and up and up. And I'm going to tap you on the forehead and keep that in. So now that we've come to the end of the healing session, as I can only heal so much in one day, I'd like to be able to come to some of the questions. And one of the questions is related to heights. So Max, I want you to go inside the mind of my client, and I want you to find out where he holds this fear of heights in his body. Whereabouts in his body does he hold this fear?
It is all in the mind.
It's in the mind.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Many years ago, he went on a trip with I call it school to a place called Coventry, and went up the tower of the cathedral, and you could only go up to about halfway. His friend dared him to step out onto the balcony overlooking the remains of the church. He looked down and he was almost sick. He couldn't wait to get out of there and back down onto the ground because he was really starting to panic. And I think that was the first time he discovered he had a fear of heights.
Mm-hmm. So where does he hold that memory and that fear in his body, Max? Just scan his body and tell me, whereabouts has he hidden that?
Dans la tête. In the head.
Okay. Is it the back, the front, the middle, or the top?
In the middle.
In the middle. And I'm going to put my hand to you now. Max, go in there and begin to pull that fear out. It doesn't serve him anymore. He's ready to let go of this fear of heights. He was just a child, exploring. And it does him no good. So go in there and begin to pull that fear out. He was very, very scared, wasn't he?
Very.
Yeah. Keep pulling and pulling, Max. Drawing it into my hand. Very good. How's he doing there?
Savory. He's doing very well.
Keep drawing it out, Max. Drawing it out. I'm calling on Goddess Isis to come down now, in preparation to put this fear in her loving basket.
He feels a great connection with the goddess Isis.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's on her way now. She's coming to take away that fear from you.
If I say one word, Atlantide, does that mean anything?
Atlantide?
Atlantide?
I'll have to look that up.
It's Atlantide. Atlantide is Atlantis?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Are you telling me you're connected with Goddess Isis from Atlantis?
He is.
He is.
I am not.
He is, but you're not.
I'm not.
What was he doing at Atlantis there then?
He was a priest.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
So he's always had a religious background.
Yes. He was also a teacher as well.
Thank you for that information now. Have I got all that fear of heights in my hand now?
I think you have almost got it.
Thank you very much. As Goddess Isis comes before me now, she's ready and waiting to gather all those thoughts to restore them. Are you ready to let go?
He is, yes.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to take that from you. Thank you for allowing me to help you today.
Oh, thank you very much.
Goddess Isis, I bid you farewell.
Thank you,
With
Isis.
this energy. Allow that to take that to spirit. And there was another question that I wanted to ask about confined spaces.
Well, I do not know where his fear of confined spaces came from. He does not like lifts. He hates lifts. In fact, when he was working at the shop, he got stuck in the lift for half an hour and he started to panic, really panic, and then he hit the alarm.
And is that where it stems from?
It's been with him all his life.
Mm-hmm. So where does he hold that memory? Scan his body and tell me whereabouts.
I think it is some past life that he's not yet accessed. I'm sure it is. But he doesn't know what it is. He doesn't know where it comes from. He just doesn't like small spaces.
Well, I want you to make an intention, Mags, now. As you can go anywhere and travel anywhere, I want you to make an intention now to travel to that past life memory that holds this fear of closed spaces. So as you go now, Max, doing your job, working through his Akashic records. I'm going to count down from 3 to 1. And when I get to 1, I want you to be at that past life memory. So when you're ready, 3, go in there now, Max, drifting and floating, searching for that past life memory. 2, getting closer and closer. And you're there. Max, was he male or female in that life?
He was male.
Male. Describe this life to me. Did he enjoy that life?
No.
What?
It was very hard.
It was a hard life.
Very hard.
What was his job in that life?
I think he was working underground.
Working underground, I see. And how did he die?
Something collapsed.
Something collapsed?
Yes.
So that would explain his claustrophobia?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it
so
was
where
like
does he hold that memory in his body now?
it is. It's deep, very deep. It'll be way down the subconscious somewhere.
Okay. So I'm going to tap you on the forehead. And as you feel my energy, I want my energy to go in and flow and ebb and soak into your mind, going deeper and deeper in search of those memories. And I want my energy now to begin to connect with that fear and that claustrophobic feeling, and start bringing all the fragments of that energy up into my fingers so that we can release it back to spirit. And the more I talk, I want you to see little fragments of that past life memory now coming up and up and up, and then there's more, and then there's more, until you can see a whole stream of memories and clips of that life. It's time to let go. Allow all the luggage of that memory to be released and taken back to spirit. And have I got all that memory now?
Most of it.
Just allow it all to come into my hand.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to take that away from you. I'm going to offer that up to Archangel Zadkiel to take that up to spirit, and may the light of the universe always accompany it. So Mags, what can we put it as a nice memory into the body now?
I think anything beautiful.
As I connect now, what would you like to connect as beautiful?
Les fleurs, flowers.
So I want you to see yourself in a meadow, a beautiful spring meadow, with all those beautiful eco buttercups, cowslips, the purple thunder of thistles, and as you look around you see the magnificence of the colours, the vibrance of the energy. And as you're laying there in this meadow, absorbing all that memory, all that energy, I want you to feel all that energy, those wonderful colours being absorbed by your mind, soothing your mind, relaxing your body. And I'm going to seal that in now. So Mags, there's another question that I'd like to ask you, and those are one of dreams. So my client has some amazing dreams. Where do these dreams come from?
Je ne sais pas. I have no idea, and he doesn't know either.
And does he astral travel with these dreams?
Yes.
He does. And where does he go when he astral travels?
Anywhere.
Anywhere? Does he have the capability to travel?
Yes.
Anywhere and everywhere?
Absolutely anywhere.
I'll be able to tell him that. And can I ask, where does he actually come from? Or where does he belong? Because he's come down to earth at this moment, but where has he actually come from?
I cannot place him myself. He can't either.
Is it from another planet?
Yes.
Is it a planet that we know, or is it of a galaxy far away?
A long way off.
It's a galaxy a long way off. I'll be sure to tell him that. And I want to ask about this cycle of relationships that he has.
Mm-hmm.
Mags, tell me what's going on there. What is it that he's holding back from?
I think he finds it hard to open up to other people. He has been told in the past that he has a lot of doors. It's almost like he puts up a kind of barrier, and behind the barrier is another one and another one and another one, and he has finds it hard to let go.
Well, go in there now and communicate with him and find out why he's putting up all these doors.
I think he has a fear of commitment.
Commitment. And where did that fear stem from? Is that a past life memory?
Probably a number of them.
A number of past life memories.
I think so.
Well, that will need probably another session to get through that, because he's been under for quite some time. So that's got to do with commitment. So we'll work on that later. Can I ask you about this feeling that he's got sort of in the 1800s? He feels that his train is jumping off the track of his timelines, and then he jumps back on. What happened to him to cause him to feel that?
Well, what happened? He had a life in France. She died towards the end of the 18th century. And it was not an unpleasant death, it was quite natural. She had a family around her. But the next life, she drowned in a river. She was trapped in a very unhappy marriage, and she found no other way out. It looked like an accident, but it was no accident. She took her own life.
So my client was female in that life?
Yes, 2 in a row.
Oh, and is that her fear of... does this also stem from the fear of commitment in relationships because of the confinement that she had in that life?
It was a marriage that she had no control over. She was married too young, she had children too young. And after that life, there is confusion, total confusion, because it's not quite certain which path he was going down. And for about 100 years, there was that complete confusion till he got till about the year 1900 and something, when he was born in Germany as a man. But that man had a most unfortunate life. He was dominated by his father. He was married to the daughter of a friend of his father's, so the marriage was arranged by his father. He had no say in it. The marriage was very unhappy. They came apart. That's not the right word. They had no children, and he ended up living on his own. He also took his own life very young, in his 30s. The girl at the beginning of the 19th century, she was maybe just over 20. So both were very short lives. So in the life up to the break, she drowned in a river. This German man, he shot himself, but he shot himself with his lover's gun. His lover was a soldier, and when the soldier wasn't there, he somehow got hold of his gun, put it to the side of his head, and shot himself. It was most unpleasant. After that, there was a space between that and the next life. Next life, he was a young boy. He was an American, only child. As the Germany had an elder brother and an elder sister, and his elder brother was killed in the Great War. And the expectations of their father was placed on him. He was not very confident. He was not half the man, sorry to say, his brother could have been. And so their father transferred his expectations onto a man who was not prepared mentally or physically to take over that role. and he drank a lot, he smoked a lot, he fell into bad company, he gambled the money that he had, and he had no other option. There was not much of a life left, so he killed himself. The boy, when we go on, was an only child. He was an American boy, so he was quite spoiled. When he grew up, he wanted to fly planes. His parents took him on a holiday on an aircraft, and the aircraft crashed and everyone was killed. He was not aware he was dead, and all he remembers is being on the plane and then standing in a field where there was a lot of destruction. There were parts of the planes, there were seats, there was valises, luggage, and he was parted from his parents, but he saw in the distance two figures, one man and a woman with kind of like beings beside them. He was with, I think, a guardian angel, and they were reunited in spirit. But it was a long time before he came into his present life, a long time. He needed to go out there and clear all that trauma that had built up before he could come back.
Yeah, to rest and
Yeah,
restore.
to rest and restore.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for all that information, Mags.
Merci bien.
We're coming, Mags, to the end of our session. Is there anything that I should have asked or ought to have asked before we come to a close?
Not at the present time. I think it would be too much for him.
Yeah.
Emotionally and in other ways.
Yes, I do. So thank you very much, Mags,
Thank
for
you.
working with me today.
Thank you for
now,
working with all of us.
What I want you to do now, Mags, is I want you to take a nice deep breath. I want you to step away from the body. Allow my client now to bring his energy back into this body. Very good. Feel his circulation coming in and around, wriggling his hands and toes. Knowing he's been on an amazing journey, just take your time, respect your journey. And when you're ready, and only when you're ready, come back to the room.
God, I bet it. That was intense. Seriously intense.
How do you feel?
Quite calm.
Mm-hmm.
Quite calm.
How long do you think you've been under?
What, half an hour? 45 minutes?
I've been recording for an hour, so you've been under for an hour and a half.
Crumbs.
This is the difference between my past life regressions and others. I don't give in till I get what I want. And we have got some more work to do with the commitment. But
Clearly.
You can only do so much in one day.
Yeah, because it's way too much.
How do you feel it went?
I think it was quite intense. There was a lot there.
Yeah.
A lot of issues. And a lot to take in. Seriously, it was a hell of a lot to take in.
Well, I'll just close this now.
I'm going to swing my legs around and